Welcome to our second session on Spark AR Studio, and today we are going to create an AR quiz. Actually, I will give you the links of some videos which I had done for Film Television Institute of India about the history of cinema. So based on that topic, I have created a quiz of 10 questions, and the way you are going to answer is the question will appear on the top on the head and the answers will be on the left and right. If you switch your head to the right, then the first option will be selected. If you switch your head to the left, the second option will be selected. So how you are going to create this quiz? And we are going to create this with Spark AR Studio, and for this I am not going to go into the details of scripting, that we will do it in the next session. I am going to give you a block. Blocks are a set of code which will be available to you. There are thousands of people on Spark AR forum who are sharing these kind of blocks, and it is also available on Facebook Asset Library. You can use these blocks and you can instantly actually apply a logic. So here, to begin with, let us now start with Spark AR Studio. But before we start, I have provided you a link to download all the resource files. So if you download the resource files, so as I can show you here, so once you download this resource files, you will get a file called quizarresources.zip. You will have a file like this. So what you have to do is, once you download it, right click and you have to just extract it. So you extract this entire file, and when you extract this entire file and if you open it, it consists of one folder called assets and one file called quizfilter.ar block. So this is the Spark AR code block that I am giving it to you to make your work easier. Then if you click on assets, in assets if you see, you have 10 questions, and show it to you. So you have these 10 questions here, and for every question there are 2 answers. So, and the way it has been named is, questions are named as Q01, Q02, Q03, and answers, the left hand side appearing answers are named with the prefix L, and the right hand side naming option is actually named with the prefix R. So this is the naming convention that has been used, and now what you can actually do is, you can create your own questions and answers and save it with the same name, and you can create your own quiz. You can customize the quiz in this way. So now to start with, I will now actually show you how we are going to build this quiz. So for this, I am going to go and launch MetaSpark Studio first. So once MetaSpark Studio is launched, again if it asks for you to log in, okay, once I have logged in, I am going to again start in create new with a blank project. Blank project, right now you have various simulations available. So I can select any of the simulation here. So as soon as I select it, you can see. Thing is, the first thing I want to do here is, I will go to file and let us first save this in a folder. Say for example, I will create a folder now called as Spark AR quiz, and in this I am going to name it as Spark AR film quiz, and I am going to save it. So after I save the file, the first thing I want is, whatever asset or the block I have asked you to download, that has to be imported here. So for this, either you can use the blocks by clicking on AR library, and if you come to blocks here, see you have various blocks available here. So instead of using these blocks, I am giving you a customized block. For this, you click on the plus button here, and here if you come up, you have one option import and choose from computer, and here now navigate to the folder where you had downloaded your assets. So here in Spark AR's Quiz AR resources, you have this quiz filter.ar block. So, select this and click open. So, as soon as you open this, you get this assess and you can give it any name. I am going to call this as film quiz, okay. And then I will drag this and put it into my focal distance. So, as soon as I put it, you can see this block is appearing on the face. So, instead of this face, I will replace it with my image now, video library, and I am going to choose Logitech webcam. So, that now my image is placed over here, and on my head you are seeing a plane and there are no texture applied to it. So, you are not seeing anything there. Now, the next part is I have to now import all the questions and answers. Now, instead of importing every question as a separate PNG or a separate file, we are going to import all the questions as one animated sequence, all the answers, left answers as one animated sequence, and right answers as one animation sequence. So, here for this, again in the assets folder, now click on plus, and instead of directly importing now, I will first choose the animation sequence. So, when I click on animation sequence, it is going to ask for a name, and I am going to call it as questions with Q capital. I call it as question. I select it. Now, I will come to texture here. If you come to properties here, you have texture. I will click on choose file, and I will come to the assets folder, and I am going to select Q1 to Q10, all the 10 questions, and I am going to click open. And now you can see you have Q1 to 10 here. I will select this and one, so it's okay. So, if I deselect it and select it, see, sometimes you can just select this Q1, and if you come back, okay, now you can see the texture has been selected, all the 10 has been selected. Only thing is, now I have to come to texture and select Q1 to 10 and set the compression to none in all the 3 cases, because if we use compression, because it is text, the text may get blurred. So, we are removing the compression here. Now, the next thing is, come back here, we have imported the question part is over. Now, we want the 2 answers, and for the 2 answers we will have 2 sequences. For that, again come to plus and choose an animation sequence, and this time I will call this as L answers. So, that is the left hand side answers. I will select it, again come to choose file here and select the 10 left answers and click open. So, now 10 files will be imported. Okay, you have LA1 to 10, again select it and come back to L answers. So, you can see it has been imported. Now, come back to LA to 10, and here again set the compression to none, none, and none. We are again going to come here, and I am going to create a new animation sequence now, and I am going to call this as OR answers, and calling it as OR answers. Again for this, in texture I will click on choose file, and I am going to select RA1 to RA10, all the 10 files, and click open. So, imported. So, all the 10 files, you can see if I click on RA1 to 10, you can see it is selected, and here again set the compression in iOS to none, Android to none, and older Android to none. Now, we have 3 animation sequences, questions, L answer and R answers imported and ready to use. One more thing here is, as you answer the question, you need score. And what will be the maximum score? You have 10 questions means 1 to 10, and if you doesn't answer any question, it will be 0. And the problem is we cannot add text directly here. So, for this reason, what we are now going to do is, we have in the assets, I have already created number 0 to 10. 11 PNG files, and again these 11 PNG files we are going to import it as a sequence, as an animation sequence. So, for this again let us come here and click on the plus icon here. Now, come to animation sequence and name this animation sequence as scores, and select this scores, come to texture, choose file, and in your assets you have number 0 to 10. You select all these 11 files and click open. So, now okay, so you have yes 1 to 11. Again select this. In iOS set its compression to none, Android set it to none, older Android set it to none, and see that scores is attached with this texture. Now, apart from these 4 textures, we have some individual textures. That is, when you are answering, if you answer a question right, I want a right mark to appear, and if you are answering a question wrong, a wrong mark has to appear. So, for this we are now going to import some separate PNG files. These are not animated sequence, these are simple image files. So, for this I will come to plus here, go to import from computer, and now what we are now going to do is select this right, select this wrong, with control pressed select this wrong, select start and scoreboard. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 files. Select all these files and click open. So, now all these 4 files are imported over here. Now, with all the 4 files selected, come over here and set the compression here to none. So, set all the compression to none for all the 4 files. So, with this the import of all the assets are over. Now, come to file, choose save, and our next job is to build the logic. So, in our next session let us start building its logic.